Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Root Drewbie and I believe MNM Edward. So we have Edward spawning on the bottom side of the map as the red Zerg. Meanwhile, we have Drewbie spawning on the north side of the map as the blue Terran player here on Blistering Sands. Should be a great matchup. Zerg versus Terran. One of the matchups that I really think favor Zerg, especially on Blistering Sands. What you can do with Blistering Sands is early roaches are able to take down these backdoor rocks very easily. And then a Terran player really likes stationary defense. They're really strong, but they're not very mobile, and that is some of their problems. And that's one of the reasons why Marine Marauder Medevac is so powerful for Terran, as it's the most mobile of their army. And that's one of the reasons why you see a lot of high-level players try to stick with infantry units, as a lot of the Terran army is just really slow in general. But anyways, getting back to the game, roaches are able to take down these rocks, and then roaches can try to pressure the front door while Zerglings are able to run through the back. And then also there are a lot of expansion locations on Blistering Sands for a Zerg to take up a third. There is this expansion here, and then there is also this expansion here, and arguably these middle expansions could go to either player depending on if these backdoor rocks are taken down. Anyways, getting back into this game, we now see a barracks being built over here by the front door. We may see Drewbie go for a double racks build, getting a second barracks here, and then following it up with the supply depot there. What this allows Terran players to do is it allows them to get a very strong front door that is not as vulnerable to banelings. One drone now was trying to see if it wants to try to deal some damage towards that building SCV, but that SCV would have been very comfortable. And now you can take a look here that there is currently no gas at all. So Drewbie sitting on a large amount of minerals. What is he going to be doing? He now built another supply depot here, currently training up a Marine, and he is still sitting on a very large sum of minerals, not exactly sure what he wants to do at this stage. We now see this one SCV wandering around. There is an Overlord in the air. I do not believe this SCV will be able to set up a bunker, as there is also a drone as well, and now the SCV deciding to do some scouting instead. One supply depot has been placed down, more Marines are still being trained, and Drewbie looking to perhaps expand. By expanding when his opponent expanded, it's going to force Edward to try to take up a third base much earlier than he really wants to. One of the benefits of Zerg is that Zerg, once they establish that creep highway, are able to get everywhere they want to be. But it's up until they establish that creep highway that they're really that dominant. If they do not have creep linking their bases, they have a very difficult time trying to defend multiple locations. And now you can see Drewbie already coming in with this command center here, and will be able to set up an expansion and force Edward's hand. We'll see what Edward wants to do. Edward is currently just training up some queens, knowing that he cannot keep up with the production. And now Drewbie going into a double gas build, so it is straight. I believe that was a 17 command center straight into double gas now. And now we're going to see Drewbie getting a very strong gas economy along with Marines as well. I still don't see any tech labs, and I don't see a factory yet, as Drewbie has not gathered 100 gas. Edward just sitting in his base and trying to get a very strong economy going. We can see that he does have one queen at the natural expansion, also one queen here, so it's going to be critical what Edward wants to do. Is Edward going to continue to power drone off of these larvae, or will he try to go for something else? That is a key question here. Now continuing to just train up more and more drones. It looks like he is going to try to power drone, but he's going to end up supply locking himself in just a second. There is a lot of larvae there, and more drones are being trained. So Edward looking to get a very strong economic game going. He's currently sitting on 26 harvesters compared to 23, but with 5 drones currently being trained, you're going to see Edward once again getting into a little bit of that economic lead. We do also see spine crawlers in position trying to act as natural defense, and now we also see a reactor being placed down by the barracks, so we may have a reactor swap in just a moment. No, a tech lab also being placed down as well. So yeah, we are going to have a reactor swap here, and now Drewbie going to perhaps use Blue Flame Hellions. Blue Flame Hellions are very effective against Zerglings, against Hydralisks. They're not quite as effective, but they do deal bonus damage, and also effective against workers. Hydralisks have a further range when they have that groove spine upgrades, and also attack more quickly. So Hellions, they need to get next to their target in order to deal a lot of damage, and in order to try to get a lot of splash damage. And in that time it takes a Hellion to try to get within decent splash line onto some Hydralisks. Those Hydralisks are able to shoot them down very, very easily. One Hellion now making its way down to this low ground. We do see Banelings currently being trained, in addition to a tech to tier 2. At this stage, looking at the current bases, I'm surprised that Edward hasn't placed down refineries here extractors here and here. It would make natural sense for Edward to try to go into Mutalisk play, since he is running off of 2 bases, and try to macro up a very, very large army of Mutalisks at this stage. And it sounds like Drewbie agrees as well, deciding to go into an armory and an engineering bay, most likely to try to get some missile turrets up, just in case any Mutalisks are being trained. We do see Banelings also being trained as well, in addition to the movement speed upgrade on those Banelings. Banelings move very, very quickly, faster than stimmed Marines with that movement speed upgrade if they are on creep. Back over here, we have one Overseer just looking around the map, trying to gain sight, figure out what exactly Drewbie is trying to do. There is one reactor down over here, and now going into double tech lab. So these Hellions down over here with that blue flame research should be able to deal a lot of damage if they're able to get up that ramp. And now going to simply just try to ignore all of those Banelings. Oh, Banelings getting a lot of those units there, and nicely cleaned up by Edward. And we still have a little bit of opportunity for those those Hellions to get some kills. Getting 5 kills already, only off of 2 Hellions, and those 5 kills do help pay for the cost of those 2 Hellions that were lost. But those Banelings and those Zerglings here stopping many of those Hellions from getting up really put a damper on Drewbie's strategy. Drewbie really wanted to get more mileage out of those Hellions, get more damage in, and perhaps delay the economy even further. We now have the movement speed upgrade. In addition to the centrifugal hooks, we may also get ventral sacks at some point, and those ventral sacks will allow for Baneling bombing runs, something I haven't seen in quite some time. More barracks also being placed down on this front door, so Drewbie looking very comfortable as he sets up another command center in order to take most likely this island expansion here once those rocks are cleared. Overlord in the air, spawning creep, a hatchery should be placed down with no real issue at all, and the Terran vehicle upgrades, level 1 now coming online, so perhaps those siege tanks will be able to even take down Zerglings even if they have that level 1 armor upgrade. And we now have barracks lifting off into the air on the move, not landing for some strange reason, and now one Marine trying to fight back against that one Zergling. He was able to, but he is currently down to 10 hit points as more bunkers are being placed down. So it looks like Drewbie trying to set up a natural barrier here, making it more difficult. Siege tanks are not in the position. Hellions getting some damage in, but now those siege tanks are in a problem. And oh, Edward does not engage. That was absolutely critical. Edward actually had a small window of opportunity to try to engage and try to take down this place before those siege tanks were now sieged up, and now Baneling simply just getting splashed apart. One of that bunker may get taken down just because of the splash damage from the siege tanks and those Banelings. The Banelings do not have any weapons upgrade. Trying to get more damage, and oh, cleaning up many of those Hellions. Not quite sure if those last 2 Banelings really needed to explode on that target, as those Zerglings would have perhaps been able to finish it off. Drewbie now repairing his front door wall, or a front wall here. And this is a very interesting play by Drewbie. Drewbie pushing out into this location will be able to fortify this location here, making it very difficult for Banelings and Zerglings to easily take this location. And now we also see a sensor tower coming into play. Siege tanks with Hellions attempting to take down these rocks. Those rocks will get taken down, especially with the benefit of the Terran vehicle upgrade, allowing these siege tanks to deal 28 damage per attack. In comes that sensor tower. One missile turret should be coming online in just a moment, and now in comes the Zerglings. Zerglings of Edward want to try to take down this one command center before it gets operational. Banelings are already on the move, 10 Banelings, and now Zerglings simply swarming into this location here, getting a lot of damage. Drewbie being very smart, deciding to lift up that command center. And that command center just floating in the air now, unable to land, unable to upgrade to a planetary fortress. Army-wise, 1900 versus 1300. Edward still behind, especially as this base is now being taken. Zerglings now trying to run up into this location. Hellions, however, once they were able to get into here, siege tanks once again getting a lot of blasts, and wow, Edward not playing well at all. Drewbie just showing his sheer dominance so far. We see that Edward is trying to set up another base here. He does have some drones and some spine crawlers as well, acting as defense. but Drewbie is now currently running on, no, not running on 3 bases as the Overlord started to spawn creep. So that is going to be a very, very strong benefit in delaying this expansion here. SCVs were trying to make its way over. More missile turrets will be placed down. This one Overlord realizes it needs to get the heck out of there and taking some damage from those Marines as soon as a missile turret comes online. And now in comes some Zerglings. Zerglings now trying to surround some of those Hellions. More Hellions coming in to reinforce though. And now that is completely cleaned up. Roaches now coming in, and Roaches may be able to snipe down one siege tank before any damage is really dealt. And now in comes another move here. There are a lot of siege tanks here trying to get more damage in. Roaches deciding to back off, perhaps to get some damage onto these buildings over here. One incomplete missile turret. Overlords now in the air as well. That one missile turret will get sniped down, and now we only have a couple Marines and one additional missile turret down over here. That missile turret may not be able to even get off one kill. Oh no, unable to get that kill off with the Thor is now coming in, and now those Roaches backing off once again. Drewbie still in a very, very safe position. He has this command center here. He should be able to land it. He has the economic lead as Edward is still behind, and now by being able to call down mules here and upgrade this to a planetary fortress, he should get the economic advantage. Zergling's now trying to run around this location here. There are a lot of Hellions and a lot of Thors, and now, yeah, the Roaches simply just sniping down many of those key buildings, just moving and attacking as Roaches have a very, very slow attack rate. They can attack and then move while that attack rate is on cooldown, saving up for that next spit of saliva. And now Roaches perhaps trying to take down the back door. The back door, however, not going to fall that easily. And now Marines getting a lot of free shots onto these units. Not quite sure what this is about at all. And wow, Edward just making a horrible, horrible mistake. Perhaps thinking that he could have taken down the rocks much more easily. And he was not able to. The Roaches finally making their way into the base, looking to try to get some damage. In comes another Thor. In comes a siege tank. That Thor will be able to rack up those kills. Roaches don't stand a chance against a Thor, especially with an SCV so close by, enabling the repair. We now see Roaches once again on the move here. The one barracks has been taken down. Perhaps should have tried to take down more of these barracks here in order to get a decent flank. And now we see an army of siege tanks and Marines making their way in. Are these siege tanks going to get some damage? It looks like they will. One queen now trying to pull away siege tanks and quickly making short work of that queen here. But now Roaches perhaps going to try to do a main push into the main the main expansion of Drewbie. Drewbie has a lot of SCVs here. He cannot afford to lose this location. More Thors and SCVs. However, the SCVs are currently blocking the Thor from being able to come down that ramp. Roaches getting a lot of damage across those SCVs now. Roaches need to move in, try to snipe down that one Thor. The Thor is not taking any damage at all. Instead, going after the Hellions. And that was a bit of a surprise there as the SCVs now once again trying to come off the mineral line, able to repair that, and now Drewbie in a very safe position. Once again, the hatchery down here has been taken down. Drewbie is up on bases 3-2 at this stage. More Roaches now on the move. There are a lot of Hellions and Thors, and Drewbie with such a dominant army at this stage. You can see mass Thors coming in. 5 Thors in this group will be able to get a round of Javelin missiles straight into that Overseer if it wants to. It doesn't want to, just simply gonna ignore it as those Roaches now return home. We now see what a lot of Roaches siege tank caught out of position there. And now Thor is trying to fight back, trying to take down many of those Zerglings. It looks like those Zerglings don't stand a chance. More Roaches now coming in. 5 Thors still blasting away, getting so much damage. 1,500 minerals in that group. And now Edward says GG. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Edward and Root Drewbie here on Blistering Sands.